These steps are the southern approach to the Temple Mount here in Jerusalem. You can see some in the background that are very smooth, and those are reproductions. They were put there a few years ago when they unearthed the rest of this. But the stuff that's really rough behind me, very rugged, those are the original Herodian, as in from the time of King Herod, Herodian steps that led up to entrances on the back wall behind me with massive gates in it so that people could ascend up to the Temple Mount and praise the Lord or do sacrifices or whatever it is that they were going to do that was highly sacred. These steps were unearthed in about 1986. There used to be just a parking lot here, and now look at it. And this is the one place in all Jerusalem that you can say Jesus had to have been here. You see, after Jerusalem fell, it was completely destroyed and rebuilt. But in the time of Hadrian, about 135 AD, there was another Jewish revolt, and he got so mad that he banned Jews from Jerusalem. He renamed the region for Philistines. He called it Palestine, which means Philistine, and it was an insult to the Jews. And then he plowed under the city with salt and rebuilt the whole thing as a pagan capital called Aelia Capitolina. A lot of details that maybe you don't care about, but they did back then. And these steps here, they remained because they were bedrock. This was the peasants' entrance to the Temple Mount. And as Jesus would have gone in and out of the Temple Mount, he didn't typically hang out with the elite, not because he was a socialist or a communist, but only because the Jewish leadership had taught the people that, well, if you were rich and you were important and you were spiritual, then it was because God liked you. But if you were a peasant, God didn't like you. And Jesus hung out with them to let them know that God loved them. So, these steps, if they could talk, they could probably tell you what Jesus' voice sounded like. Some of these steps, perhaps, they could even tell you how his feet smelled. But this, for most Christians coming into Jerusalem, and I'm talking about not so much traditional Christians, but people who are actively following Jesus, they find this place perhaps the most sacred place in all of Jerusalem. The South Temple steps here in the Davidson Center, the wall behind me, the south wall of the Temple Mount, the steps leading up to actually 5 closed gates that used to lead up onto the Temple Mount where the peasants would come in. These are the South Temple steps. I love it here.